Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Monday Star Citizen Q&A. I am Jarvis. With me today is Captain Tyler, and we are sitting here in New Babbage on top of the habitation. Would have been a bit further. We tried to get a bit further, but Tyler had as all things Star Citizen related when it comes to this show, he had a power bump and lost power to his house once I had left orbit, which forced me to turn him to, of course, to restart the computer, and then I had to turn around and fly back, and then we had to coordinate and pick it up, and then so it was started off as it being ready like an hour early, turned into being like having 10 minutes to get everything back on track. So that's the nature of it. It's always seems to kind of go that way when we try to start a show. I will not be having a show this Wednesday because I do have a follow-up appointment with a dentist. So I went last Wednesday, this Wednesday as well. It's one of those things that basically I'm just not going to be available. So we'll be a stream only Thursday and Friday this week. And the upcoming week, we're going to have actually my first vacation in I can't remember how many years. I'm still debating if I would do any streaming that week at all, or if I just want to just chill out and take the entire week to myself because I've had like 6 days off for vacation time at my job in the last 8 years, and you know, and there's a cuckoo clock going off, so uh, it's ding ding dinging. Um,
Ding, ding, dingy.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He had a thunderstorm out in his area, so it basically just killed everything. Um, but no wind power computer. Wind power, as Texas has learned, is severely lacking in some instances. Uh, anyway, so I'm in my freelancer dir for a reason today because they did actually talk a little bit about exploration and whatnot. So I thought thematically this is the route that I would go. Also, I like the freelancers. That too. So let me start with a note that I saw that a developer had made. A dev had actually posted, and I tried to find it again to give you the exact name of the dev. Unfortunately, the post was buried, and I lost track of it. But someone was asking about landing pads on star bases, and they said that the ultimate goal is to remove landing pads from star bases and have everything actually be an internal landing bay. They don't want, which I'm perfectly fine with because the landing pads I feel are weird, and also I'd rather also if you talk about reducing the complexity of things that the game has to draw, I'd rather and also spawning in ships and spawning out ships. It makes a lot more sense to have those things in a situation where it actually can do that out of sight of players. So I'm fine with that. So if that's their ultimate goal is to get rid of the landing pads, that would say that they also need to do a rework to a lot of the little stations. Not a huge rework, but there would definitely have to be some refactor there. And also as well, he talked about how that when Olisar is replaced, what will replace it will not have landing pads. It will simply be landing bays. And they'll need to, in my opinion, need to rework those landing bays. They need to make them a little bit more generous than they have in the past to allow a little bit less tight of a squeeze to get in with all the ships. Some ships are like, well, we don't want to go up to the next size bay, so we're going to squeeze the ship in because our bays are like we did that with the Karak, and it was like, oh, the Karak it works really well. Nope, the arms are too wide. We just squish the arms in because it's like no, just stop it. Just give yourself a little flexibility, give yourself a little room when you're developing these things. It's fine. Um, you know, at the start in the up position. Well, the character doesn't have any hard things don't go in the up position. Um, okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that came out. So let's start with the Inside Star Citizen here. And then I've got the epic music now from New Babbage starting to play in my ear. So no more pad ramming. That's a huge thing. No more pad ramming. No more pad killing. You can feel safe and secure that once you've landed in a place or summoned a ship, that ship is going to be there. Of course, you still have the larger ships have to dock externally with you have the connection arms and things like that. But that's fine. That's still talking about an airtight, secure seal where the player can transition from ship to the inside without having the opportunity to suffocate to death because they forgot to put a helmet on. Um, Unless, of course, they use an airlock without a helmet, but that's completely their fault.
Or they give us a helmet that looks good and you just got a few leaks.
Yes, or my helmet that I have that came in my armor that I'm wearing, I've actually swapped out a different helmet because my helmet has leaks. It has leaks.
I just say the helmet that's basically a Ziploc bag with
Exactly.
some duct tape his did better than the one that he had.
Well, obviously they're gonna have landing pads, and this is the reason another reason I landed here. They're gonna have landing pads on top of buildings. They're gonna have landing pads on places on the ground. That's fine, and I would expect that with iCache. I would expect those things to be persistent. So I would expect this still to be. So there still could be pad ramming, but as players are spread out, the stations and refueling points and things like that are kind of what I call choke points. There would be more player interactions, so it's better to have the ability to not only remove the amount of draw calls by having the ships not showing up, because when something is not shown, it's not drawn, and with the way the engine works. So if they're inside a closed hangar bay door, it doesn't matter how many ships are in there, their game isn't drawing them if the doors are closed, and so that'll hopefully make everyone's experience a little bit better. And of course, Evocati is going on. I have actually got to play. I've actually got to fly around Crusader. I've actually got to fly around the new landing zone and play around the new landing zone. And of course, it's early builds, and hopefully it'll when it goes. I think I can say this is that I think you guys are going to enjoy volumetric clouds. I think they're going to add a lot to the experience as far as the environmental stuff, and you've already seen a lot of that on ISC. And but it does really add a sense of scale. And a lot of times people complain when they fly that they don't have a sense of speed or anything like that. Like there's a sense that's missing there. But having those clouds and you're higher up, and especially the size and scale of them, really gives you that feel. It gives you a very nice sense to it. So that's a new technology. They'll keep making improvements on it, of course. But I was very highly impressed with the artists, and I said I can't get into it too much, but just say it has a thumbs up from me. And as they refine it, it'll continue to. We'll have to see what the future holds with that. I couldn't answer that even if I wanted to, Rattlehead, because I have only been on Crusader. I just flew around a lot. And then I went to Olisar to look back at the planet. So that was about it. So I mean, I didn't. So I haven't seen the other ones yet. I may consider that the next test. I may go and take a look at like something like a Daymar or something, just for my own personal knowledge. Well, it depends. I mean, it depends. We'll have to see. Like, okay, just as a side note, okay, talk about overhead and things like that. It's a matter of refining. Okay, when Lorville first came out, you got 5 frames a second. When Lorville came out, it was a nightmare. You couldn't even land the city. The frames were so bad. You had to land outside the city and walk in because it was impossible to land because of the frame rate. Now look at Lorville. It's great. I mean, the frame rate is consistent. It's smooth. So anytime you got an issue with a new tech, it always I would be surprised if a new tech didn't come out, like especially in the testing phase, and not be optimized. Nonetheless, I think it'll be fine. Um, I think you'll enjoy it. I think you will. And of course, knowing it's me, so I found various ways to fall off the city to my death. So that's what I do.
He
Okay,
was gas mining on Bespin.
exactly. Without a ship. Uh, so, okay. So
That's because Lando is too cheap to get him one.
Lando's too cheap. Well, the Falcon wasn't underneath. So I jumped away from my father. I fell down, and then there was no Falcon down below, and then.
Oh,
Um, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's early builds. Early builds. Um, all right. So of course this week on Inside Star Citizen, you know what? What would be amazing? You know what would be amazing if I actually looked at the notes on the right page. I'm looking like, why do these notes seem like they're old? Like, oh, wait a minute, that's from 517. It's like, wait, it's like the systems. What are you talking about here? All right, you're getting single-digit frames now. Interesting. So I mean, as you can see, I'm not doing too bad. Um, I mean, I think everyone. I'm probably working about as well as anyone else. The bottleneck isn't the video card or anything. I think for me, it's the server side. But you can see I'm not. It's not bad. You're on. Depends largely on the server at that moment. All right. So of course they talked a bit about Xeno threat, and of course the introduction of a new one called Nine Tails Lockdown this week. And of course, they want to add more dynamic events. They want to make these things happen week to week. And if they add more and more, you can see them maybe even going every a couple of days. They change them out or whatever. They kind of get the community involved, things like that. So they went back in and they revisited Xenothreat. And let me go ahead and switch over here real quick. So they went back and they revisited Xenothreat, and basically what they've done with that is they have been revamping the phases. And for example, resupplying the javelin phase, you have to actually escort it, and depending upon how you've resupplied, it depends if it if it turns into if it's a big smoking wreck or if it's a or how well it's effectively it's going to be able to fight. They've also been working on the hostility upgrades in the system. The hostility upgrades right now, one of the biggest problem we had in Xenothreat when we were playing was the fact that a lot of players were, for example, calling
Oh,
themselves
using the same
Xenothroat and
name.
stuff like that. So the players were trolling were the largest problem in the event. I found that the event itself. Did need refinement, but the 90% of the problems that I had was what players were doing to each other, how players were acting, and things like that. So what they've done is there's a hostility upgrade here where there's a degradation of the hostility timer. So if you accidentally shoot an NPC or if you shoot a player, there's a degradation. The degradation is faster on the AI than on the players. So this would mean that like if an event ends and you accidentally shot a fighter 5 minutes ago, it's not constantly attacking you. You might still get a fine. They haven't really defined any sort of changes to the law or anything like that, as far as I know. But basically, the fact that you'll have some point in time where you lose aggro, that's a good thing. That's pretty. The ships are looking pretty solid, except for the turret on a turret there. I'm not a fan of that on javelins. But So they've also given us more dialogue. So there's going to be more, I guess, AI communication or at least voice communication telling us exactly what's needed in each phase, so we're not questioning as much. If there, as far as those ships for picking up, like here, where you get the storage, you could do a scan to determine if there's boxes still inside, if there's hostiles inside. So this way, you know that a particular ship is worth going into to procure those resources. There goes all those boxes go flying out. So basically, you're not wasting your time. You're going, you do a sweep of the ship, and there's absolutely nothing in there. And also having the ability to see how far along, getting the information from the NPCs, like how far along. Hey, you still need to do this and this and this. That's helpful. Information is really important when it comes to the players. You need to be able to feel that you don't feel lost. You need to feel like you're involved. You need to feel like you need to know what's next, what your goals and objectives are. Otherwise, everything just kind of gets really messy. And local chat gets spammed with what am I do? What do I do, guys? Um, so scanning the internals is great. Oh, see, the amount of time being spent on Xenothreat type events could mean that the PU is going to be full groundbreaking MMO features such as timed events and fetch quests. Hope they don't cheap out their profits. Limiting dynamic world reads earlier. Um, I think I think I think the whole quanta system and with dealing with the NPCs and things like that, with what they're doing, they're living their lives, and that creates events and also creates dynamic markets and things. That's the living, breathing universe. Creating events. And actually, set pieces. And you can do set pieces in a sandbox MMO, and still do that successfully. You can do set pieces, you can do theme park, and you can do dynamic, and all three of those can blend well. The theme park is like for example, you're building a reputation up with somebody, and where'd you go, Tyler?
I'm walking around the ship.
Okay, so I looked to the right. I thought maybe you got disconnected. All right. So anyway, so the thing is that the theme park, of course, is like when I play Elder Scrolls Online. There's like a story for each map. Each map takes you through a particular chain of events. Then you have, of course, the like these, which are set pieces, which you have a series of events that repeat in the world. Guild Wars 2 did a lot of that too. There was a story, but there was also set pieces that would recycle over and over again. And ESO does that to some degree. And of course, again, you have the full dynamic, which is everything adjusts and changes and flows based upon the actions of players and NPCs that are running in the background. Or so Star Citizen's large enough to set all three. No, it's not. the White Knights. White Knights will White Knight. There's nothing you can do about them, right? Um, there's still a lot of underlying tech that they talked about that shows that we're not there yet by far. Now, Squadron 42 doesn't require all this tech to be up and running, so none of this stuff is really important to Squadron 42 per se. Um, so this stuff can take much longer to develop than that game. Now, the Ninetales Lockdown is a new one that's coming out, and let me switch over to that one here. So Ninetales is more of a kind of a capture the base kind of scenario. It's a space station lockdown. It's a bit of PvE. It's a bit of PvP. It starts off in phases. They expect the whole thing to be 3 to 4 hours. They'll be first to the phase that it's an announcement. It's a prologue phase, and then you're going to have the quantum blockade that starts at the station. It has to be ships have to come in, and because of the blockade, it takes you a good distance away from actually getting into the station. You have to escort the ships in. On the other side of it, the players can work with the Ninetales to enforce the blockade. And of course, you were talking about how that they were using, like, for example, the hammerheads to, in this particular case, to distract missiles from your ships are going to be going out on one side to scan for those who are doing the quantum blocking, the blocking, and the other guys on the other side want to stop them from finding those ships. And they were saying how basically the hammerheads were using their chaff and flares, staying close, and actually pulling the missiles away from the scanner ships. To take the hits directly themselves if necessary, acting like a body blocker. So they're saying that hopefully this will start bringing in more tactics and things like that. We'll see. I don't know how much I'm going to like this event. If it's kind of a PvE PvP thing, we'll see. But the other one kind of turned into that a little bit too. But that's false advertising. That helmet doesn't work outside. I still can't wear my helmet outside. That's false advertisement. So anyway. Anyway, so the thing is that basically they're going to alternate between this and the other one, and this one I would expect to go through the initial release, and then of course at some point in time have to be revamped and reworked again as they give feedback. All right, so let's jump into another topic here. This is something I thought that was really cool, and this kind of ties into the next effect I'm going to show you. Last helmet you'll ever wear, exactly. It's the one you get buried
I'm
in.
still thinking that server meshing is going to be a big thing. Like, you have all these players trying to do an event.
Yeah, server meshing is going to be. I can't emphasize enough. Server meshing, I think, is going to help people's performance quite a lot if it works the way they intend it to work, and it's a little bit different than what a lot of games do, how the shards work on their games or how their version of meshing works. That cockpit view. All right, so thrusters and ray casting for directional. This is cool. So the ships will produce ray casting, which will actually, when the thrusters are pushing, will cause the dust clouds to affect the right way, the right angle, the right direction. And this will tie into the fire system I'm going to show you in a minute, actually, because it comes into another mixing there. So you see, as the thrusters are pushing in different directions, they're causing the dust to blow appropriately. Now, of course, as you know, the main engines, if you power them up, if someone's behind your engines, will shove somebody over and knock them down. So you can imagine if you're flying low and thrusting like this, that the same thing would happen to a player, right? You could actually blow them over. Yeah, not good flying, but nice effects, absolutely. But that's the whole point. It's just showing off the effect. So yeah, that looks great. I give that. As I said, they're artists, and the guys that do that stuff are fantastic. This has got my seal of approval, absolutely. Not that they need it. And so, wait a second here. What is this? Oh yeah, they're also working on Jump Town 2, I guess. So whatever that, I guess you're going to learn more about that next week. Next week is the season quarterly finale of Inside Star Citizen and stuff. So we'll have to see what the show entails there. Your Reclaimer landing needs to be epic. Yeah, it does. It really does. I should don't stare at the engines of that thing. You get oh my gosh, you get launched. You get launched like a football by the world's best kick, field goal kicker, right to the mountain passes. Yeah, so this kind of ties in this. So let me close this off and show you this other one real quick. Okay, The fire effects are talking about they're spreading. Okay, now they're showing how basically it affects the fire and stuff like that. That they can create vortexes and wind. Okay, now here's where I want you to look at this. Keep in mind when you're looking at this, think grass with the thrusters. Okay, this tech can be applied to the grass. This tech can be applied to foliage. Okay, as you're having thrusters come over and affecting the wind, and they want the grass and stuff to bend. So, and if it can do the same thing, then this tech right here can apply to the foliage in game. And this is where a lot of the tech in Star Citizen is where they're trying to
Dual
create.
purpose, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're trying to create systems that work across multiple areas of the game or all areas of the game because they don't want to have to try to fix multiple things or have. Now, I completely agree with that. They were talking about how that their resources they have to they thought it would be a 6 months work and it's been more than a year because they had to rebuild it from scratch whatnot. But they wanted a system that works everywhere at all times. Now this is using the sign distance fields on the inside for actually for how the smoke propagates and how the fire propagates. So they're using SDF on the inside of the ship. So that's pretty cool. I mean, but yeah, absolutely. So yeah, not just systems, but systemic systems. Exactly, systems that work in the background, handling things, doing things at multiple layers, multiple levels, and
They're
just.
talking about using the use of fire extinguishers and how that
Mm-hmm.
would affect pushing the fire and the smoke and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this looks great. I mean, this has the potential to be applied in many different areas in the game, and I'm glad to see this kind of thing. If you
Now
weird
when you
like CIG is taking time to killing me. Uh,
well, that's better than just going insta pop.
yeah, it's like, yeah, we need to have the ships actually take more damage and slowly die because what's the point of having all these cool fire effects and things like that? Fire spreading through your ship if your ship explodes in under a second. Um, this is the really important things, having the value of these systems. The ships have to survive long enough for these things to be a factor.
The guys running to get their hydro spanners to go start working on something that got destroyed or under attack. They go to their toolbox and they blow
Exactly.
up. It's like, what happened?
All right, so
We
there was also some ship updates here. Let me grab this here real quick. Now they're updating the Retaliator. As you see, they're changing. They're going to be moving the airlock. Like here, the ladder in the side is now. I mean, the elevator side is now an airlock. Now this is interesting because I wonder how many more things are being reworked inside the Retaliator. Retaliator is okay, and here's of course the Redeemer. And this is funny because this looks like this right here. Let me back this up real quick. Hold on. Right here, this looks exactly like the early shots we saw of the Retaliator. The Retaliator had a cockpit here, and then the gunner, the behind and the left and the right, it had the people running the turrets before they decided to make the turrets manned and down the hallways. And there was someone on the forum say, "Oh, you can't make the Retaliator have the chairs back behind the seat like that. It would take up too much space, and you have to make the ship wider." It's like, no, look here's the Redeemer. It does it. It's doable. It's even the same brand of ship. So apply this to the turrets in the Redeemer. Get those hallways cleared out for armament and arms, and also so that people can for more components and things like that. There's no reason to have those. You have two turret gunners, one running the top turrets, one running the bottom turrets. And then basically that's it. Boom, three people craft, right? And then other people running systems. Fourth, you got an engineer, maybe whatever. But yeah, you can drop the ship requirements down by a single person or several people and still make it viable. Anyway, I'll have to play on this again. Of course, yeah, more Redeemer. You see some shades of Vanguard going on here. Uh, it looks good. I mean, I can't really complain. I'm looking forward to flying it. Trust me, when this comes out, I will be happily taking this out for a show, or during a show. This has been a ship I've been waiting to fly for the longest time. Kind of a controversial one. Some people really like. Of course, the Aries. I don't have the Ion, but I have the other one, the one with the Gatling gun. Um, this doesn't look too bad. Obviously, it's still not the final phase. The detail is kind of low on the textures there, so it's not finished. But yeah, this stuff looks pretty good.
Yeah, they said it was in the white box phase.
Let's see here. That tenth of a second to be the coolest ever. Tenth of a second you saw in a space game before you rage quit it. You see burning crew running through hallways. Oh yeah, Uh, yeah, that'd be great. All hands abandon ship. Yeah, but yeah, dude, you can't. You no, you they won't allow yell all hands abandon ship. They'll be dead before they get. They'll go. They'll
Ah,
say all, and they'll be dead. All.
won't even have time to pull the eject
Right.
button.
Exactly. Um, Manage people want the forums and want voices in their ships. No voices, even though they should be not what I support. The people ship. The people ship. All right. So, and of course, here. Okay. Here's the last one that I wanted to cover, kind of on the Inside Star Citizen. I want to show you this footage, and then I'm going to show you what's important in this footage, in my opinion. Okay. This is what they didn't talk about, but what I saw. They showed us these HUD updates. Okay, like the different layout in this Drake ship. Okay, you can see like they changed the colors, they changed the just basically they're experimenting with different things. But that's
For
not what's
different manufacturers
different
and whatnot.
manufacture.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to have everyone have a different, but kind of have a universality, but have everything have a different look. Okay, but that's not the important thing in this particular video. Not in the least. I mean, it's interesting. It's art stuff, but that's not what caught my mind on this thing here. So what caught my attention is this. If you zoom in on that one scene, look at this. That's a cone radar, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like a cone radar. You see the bottom arrow between where the referral code is down at the bottom? That looks like where the ship is. You've got the 45 degree. You got basically the 90-degree cone flashing forward. Okay, you've got like maybe a focus. The circle area is like either a focus or an area that's just been scanned or a scan zone or whatever. But look at that. That looks like a cone-based radar on a fighter. Okay, not a 360-degree sphere, which should only be on things like the Hornet Tracker or ships with scanning systems anyway, with AWACS-like capabilities. Fighters should be cone-based. Like you imagine a ship like the Retaliator would have a front and back. So when I looked at this, and sorry for the blurriness, but I had to blow. I took a screenshot of this, and I actually stretched the screenshot as far as I can go on, or not as far as I can go. I could probably go bigger, but I don't know. I don't know. But if this is, but here's the thing: is this their intent? See, that's what I'm saying. Why would they show this? But they don't need to do. See, they don't need to do something like this. They could have just shown the same old circle. So is this their intent? This. I mean, I can't say for certain. You might be right, but that looks. If that's the intent that they have, um, that would be amazing, because you having stealth gameplay and things like that. If you have all situational awareness all the time, you can't use stealth gameplay. Well, yeah, I guess Rattlehead brings up the same point that I do at the same time. Yeah, but I play DCS, right? Okay, like you're easier to detect if you're doing an active radar ping, but there's an advantage and disadvantage of doing it. But yeah, I'm just saying saying that but games are defined not only by what they can do but what they can't do. So like why would you want a Hornet tracker as opposed to a standard Hornet? Why would you want to sacrifice 2 guns? Because you have better sensors. Maybe it's harder for a stealth ship to get a sneak up on you. Maybe you could have that 360-degree ability that you don't have on a standard fighter, right? So you lose 2 guns, you get situational awareness. It's a trade-off. So we'll have to see how this goes. If this is what it is, I'm actually kind of excited for it because it shows more of a mature intent behind the systems. And this is to me hopeful. It's hopeful. Well, hopefully, when it comes to stealth gameplay, that every ship should be able to equip stealth components, of course. But some ships will have a default level. Of course, as they talk about being able to maybe replace or upgrade materials later, it's possible, I can imagine, that you would be able to modify your ships to be stealthier than they are at the default level. Probes, yeah, we'll get into that in a minute here.
Yes.
Power off, dark side of an asteroid. Yeah, of course. Yeah, stealth, and you would run obviously the more power you put out and stuff like that. But anyway, I saw this. I had to share that with you guys. I saw. When I saw this, I literally when I was watching that, it's the only thing that caught my eye when they were showing the colors. Like whoa, 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 whoa! I paused it and rewound it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this caught my eye. This caught my DCS eye real quick, and I'm hoping that this is what it is, and hoping this is what they're doing, because this is great news if they are. Depth isn't. You can't have these complex systems and arcade depth. It just never going to blend. But having something like this may be good news.
See, ships like the Terrapin and the Hornet Ghost and whatnot,
Yeah, exactly.
it, now they have a stronger use
Oh,
of
Hornet
in the
Tracker.
fleet.
Yeah, Hornet Tracker.
I
Yeah.
mean, the tracker. Yeah, I'm talking about now. They can sit and they can relay signals to the fighters. Hey, this is what we see. You don't see it. We're relaying this to you because their sensors are going to be more attuned to the radar for the situational awareness versus the cone radar. But they take the massive. They don't have much weapons because their job is to doing the radar, just like an AWAC aircraft. It's just off the side and says, "Hey, everybody, guess what? Bad guys are over here."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like looks like a concept rattlehead, but it's like it's an unfinished concept, but it's the intent that interests me. It's the well, we're thinking of doing it this way, you know. Am I clipping the weather? Maybe. Just flying low and slow over the city
Till we run out of gas.
till we run out of gas, and I'll be flying fast and deadly straight to the Earth. Um, all right, so Star Citizen Live. Star Citizen Live, guys. We're doing good. We're doing well on time. I think we're getting some good ground covered here. They talk about spawning lootables, loot generation. I had to. They kind of started with that and then moved back down to that, so I'll just jump down where my notes were on that. It looked a little bit like when they were putting down these crates. It looked a little bit like. I wonder if I have a footage of that. Doesn't look like it. I thought I cut it out. Maybe I didn't. Anyway, it looks like basically the way they were treating it was a bit almost like Fortnite. You know, someone dies, they drop a crate, you pick up the crate, and obviously that's the initial way they want to do it. They want it eventually so that if you see a guy wearing armor and blah blah blah, you can take the armor off of him, you take the gun, and then he search his pockets. His pockets will have random things or whatever. Should it be a sphere radar? The HUD's still even more readable. It used to be earlier in pattern. They could barely see enemy ships on some MFD. Yeah, they've had problems with their MFDs forever. Like this ship, this is a Freelancer Dur, right? You can imagine this ship would have a bigger, might have a sphere, because it's literally an exploration ship. Okay, this is what it's made to do. It's made to have better sensor packages. It's got the chin boobs, which I imagine are sensors of some kind. You know, but we'll have to see how that comes together. I'm gonna call them chin boobs forever. It's just how it is. Just deal with it. Let's see here. Then we've got the. All right, they got the long distance probing, which is why I actually got this ship. Now,
They also said that they were talking about. So there's some questions during that whole thing. I'm talking about drops, and they said they were planning on whatever you see on any person for the drop to be on the drop, unless they were going to have some situations where the guy could be like carrying something in his backpack. That
right, yeah, exactly. I said in his
equipment.
pockets. It'll be that will be the random, the RNG, if you will.
And also key cards.
Look, Jarvis, you love how you complete missions, but there's talk on the core where you leave all your enemies in their underwear. You got problems. Hey, that's not true. That's not true. I loot the underwear. Get it straight. That's all going.
In some games, there's a bonus to being with no armor.
The browner, the better. That's all I gotta say about that. Even fighters that give a country what you show was a 2D triangle, which sucks for Z-axis. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, but I'm just saying it's the intent, and they could have, Fallout player heart take everything. Exactly, loot everything. Candy canes, cans, doesn't matter. Loot it all. All right, so the whole idea of probe launching. And they want to use a triangulation system. So the more time you spend on it, the more data you get, the more probes you launch, the better information you can get. And it can detect different things. Maybe someone getting attacked, maybe an asteroid field, maybe a wreck. And these things will be created in the system and they'll last a certain amount of time. Now, how long it'll last, I guess you're not going to know. It could be something that lasts a few minutes. It could be something that lasts a few weeks, a few days. I guess that's going to be handled on the iCache side of it. You can sell this data. Now, here's my question. That they said they want ships to have probes, okay? Where are the probes launching from? What ships can launch probes? This is an exploration ship, so can it launch probes? Are they going to have to add things on the ship? Are you going to have to remove missiles? Are they going to be in place of missiles? You'll have probes instead of missiles. How is this going to work? I mean, what's exactly the nature of it? You know, that's my question. So like, okay, so this ship, for example, the Dur here, I have it has 8 missiles. Now, would I have to replace For example, I wanted to carry 4 probes. Would I have to take off like those 4 small missiles or the 4 large missiles, or is it something I shove out the back? I mean, like the Crybaby and Firefly. I mean, well, how is this going to work? That's my question. Is they talk about probes, but where do they come from? Yeah, exactly. This is an exploration ship. This is one of the reasons I picked this one. Where would it come from on a freelancer dirt? I'm on my 315p. I mean, is it possible that some exploration ships won't be able to have probes at all because it's just too small? So there's a lot of questions when it comes to probes because I'm not exactly sure that and I might be wrong in this. I'm not exactly sure they fully thought out that dynamic. It is an equipment based thing, so you have to have ships effectively be able to utilize this equipment, right?
In EVE Online, you actually had dedicated ships for probes, and they did the same thing with using multiple, depending on what class of ship, because you can use a Type 1 or Type 2 probe ship, depending on what quality probes you
Mm-hmm.
use, how many you use, and you would go a wide range for scan and
Oh,
focus.
CIG might make triangle ships for better triangulation. That's funny.
Hey, might
Um,
be cone
Imagine if you
ships.
could stick probes in the cargo hold and just throw them out the back. Exactly. Probes made
Yeah,
exploration. I thought more scanning was gonna be. I thought more scanning was gonna be from their ship rather than the Eve 12-way probes.
yeah.
Maybe it'll launch like a missile. Or I thought the hard point would be anyone's guess. Yeah, pretty much every ship in Eve used probes. Some were
I'm
better than
also
others.
wanting to know if
Yeah,
they were
but the
usable.
difference between like Eve and Star Citizen is that like Eve doesn't have to simulate the interior. The ships aren't. They're not physicalized. They're not really like. There's no interior spaces to consider. Probes are coming from an imaginary space that the ship is built that launches from an imaginary launch point. Star Citizen, it's got to have a physical location, right? So like that's my question: is where do they go? Do I replace 2 of my fuel tanks with gigantic probes on the ship, the top of the ship? I mean, I don't know. So I'm curious to know exactly how that works. I still think I would guess that they're probably going to be missiles that you equip them when you're doing exploration. You may strip off some of your combat weapons, some of your combat missiles, and instead throw probe missiles on instead. That's the simplest way that I can see them do it, and that would mean like if you think about like why it would make the ship like the Aquila, the Connie Aquila, extremely powerful exploration ship, right? Because it's the thing here is like 48 missiles, and you could put 48 probes on that thing on the outside. You could really go to town on long range exploration. But then of course you have ships like the Carrack, which don't have any missiles at all. So like, what do you do in that case? And the Carrack should be the premier. It's got drones, but doesn't have probes. As far as it's weird. It's weird.
I would also think that the ship also needs to have enough computer systems to be able to operate
Right.
the probes, because that's a lot of scanning and a lot of control that has to be done from the ship for the tests to be done for the probes and for the narrowing down of stuff that you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely not want to compare it to Eve Online directly here because Star Citizen, I mean, they do like to copy some of their ships. That's just true. But the thing is that generally speaking, it's not the same animal. Eve Online is, for some, a lot of people call it a spreadsheet simulator, and there's some very solid reasons for that. But there has to be a lot more interactivity and a lot more direct um, control on the way that Star Citizen does things. So it just brings up a lot of questions. Oh, the game froze for a second. There we go. That I don't know if they have the answers for yet, and we'll have to see how they approach it. So
It was just a cool gameplay that when I finally got later on in the game where I could scan stuff down, you could go wide and focus, and then when you get better skills up in it, you can get to more stronger probes, and then you had probes you could either do anomalies, you could look for asteroid fields or asteroids, or and you also can you find artifacts and missions, and you had the NAS people could actually scan down players. So, and it just depended on how much time and effort, but sometimes it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, look what I found! I found a black hole,
yeah,
and you could either sell what you found, or you could go do things yourself. You could scan down an asteroid belt in high sec that nobody would normally find in a normal trade route, and you could either go and give that to a corp mate, sell it a location on the market, all kind of different options. And you can do it for missions too. So I think this would be an interesting side mission kind of thing to do. What they're going to do with it, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, Eve scanning isn't horrible. It suits Eve, but Star Citizen needs to be a bit more. Um, Absolutely, it's there's nothing wrong with looking at other games. Now, if I was to say what their scanning would probably be like is Evokron Legacy. Evokron Legacy uses probes. This is exactly what you do. You set your X, Y, Z axis, okay? You do your X and Y, then you flip the map, you set your Z, you launch the probe goes out, it does scanning, it gives you a reading, it gives you a feedback after a time, and then you can go out and see what you find. It is literally, it sounds sounds exactly like the scanning that you have in Evokron Legacy, which is fine because Evokron Legacy, the Evokron Legacy is a great game, absolutely top notch. On Steam for like $25. You want to give it a shot? It's or $20. It's made by one dude, and it's awesome. And it's if you want like a not Eve Online, but a Elite Dangerous / Star Citizen experience that's solo or can be multiplayer because you can join people's servers that they have set up. It's really cheap, and and it's just it's not a bad game. But anyway, so the thing is that but yeah, the thing is that that particular game. From what it sounds like, it's closer to that. It's closer to that. My big problem is, once again, is what exactly is a probe? Where do you equip it on these ships? How is it equipped? How many can you carry? It's a dynamic.
Are they one-time use?
Are they one-time use? Yeah, exactly. I mean, what Yeah, they do bring up more questions and answers. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
If you're lost and needed to send a signal, pirates could also get that signal. Exactly. Same thing happens with send up probes. So the explorer turning its position, pirates use it against the explorer. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, is it encoded? Is it something that has to be hacked? I mean, I don't know. You're right. There's a lot of questions. There are more questions, and we may have to just kind of wait to see exactly how that goes. What kind of what exactly kind of information is provided. Yeah, probes need. Yeah, exactly. They need to be They need to be focused. Like maybe they send to a particular your exact location. You have to wait until you send out all your probes and then get the scans back, and then you basically it'll transmit to your location. And if you leave, you won't get the signal. You have to wait in your position. I mean, that's a possibility. Set them to OR mode. I'd rather set them to AND mode. But no, yeah, I get it. That's fine. Yeah, or you can find exactly resources, sell that data. It's the first steps of exploration, and I'm okay with them starting with probes because I would rather, in some regards, have the ability to send probes out. It's safer for your ship to not just go out into an area and roll the dice and see what's out there. If you can scan an area first ahead of time. And get data sent back to you, and find out if an area is safe, or at least it's not as dangerous, or not very dangerous, and then you can take your ship to the location. That's actually a relatively smart move. It's not really any different than sending out a scout, before you send in the rest of your army, because you want to find out where the enemy is, right? Same kind of thing. You want to you find out where you're going and what's out there before you get there, as much as possible. Okay. Well, when I lived in Japan, I was dating this Japanese girl named her name was Michiko, and the thing was that those dad jokes are called ojiji gabu, and I used to make a lot of them. Like, she was studying Spanish and English, and of course spoke Japanese, and the name for umbrella is in Japanese is kasa. But she had forgotten her umbrella in the rain one day, and I looked at her and said. She said, "Can I borrow your umbrella?" I said, "Mi casa es su casa," which is kind of mixing Japanese and Spanish. And actually, the word works too, because casa is house, and it's the same phrase, and casa is umbrella. So she sat there for a moment and went, "Ugh, the jijigabu." So this is like, yeah. So, but yeah, it's one of those things that, yeah, I used to. She used to get on me all the time for dad jokes. And she's like, you're 25. Like, stop the dad jokes. It's just like, oh, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's the thing. Let's see here. So we have the. Where is it here? Oh yeah. Okay. Then they have here as well. They have. They talked about adding atmospheric damage for pressure. So as you go down into too deep of pressure, like in the gas giants, you can't just fly to the core crusader. Your ship will get crushed, and this of course means some ships will be tougher than others. You can imagine the larger ships will probably be able to handle more depth than the smaller ships. Or maybe vice versa. I don't know. It depends. I guess it depends on the ship and the construction. Imagine Drake ships probably aren't as strong as for the depth as say something a little bit more expensively produced. So you can see that different manufacturers have these advantages and disadvantages too. Now, it did come up in the stream that someone said, "What about underwater?" And no one said anything. One of the developers had this coy smile on his face when it was asked,
Yeah,
and I
they're bringing up
noticed
Red
it. I
October.
was I was like, no, but when he asked, he said, "Well, what about underwater?" Someone was asking about underwater, and he had this. Okay, you know what a duper's delight is. It's a smile someone gets it's an unconscious smile someone gets when they're concealing or masking something without saying something directly. Duper's delight is a psychological thing. Now, when asked about the underwater ship or underwater thing, he got the Duper's delight smile on his face, which indicates to me, just as a psychological thing, that they are looking at either a ship or vehicles that will operate underwater. And that's just based on what looked like Duper's delight, and I hope that kind of makes sense. But that the one thing. If a pirate says probe, can they prevent sending out a signal somehow and collected that data? So they might be able to. But space is big. I mean, the odds of you just intercepting a probe, like being there, I don't know. Drake crush sensing technology with the string from the left to right hull. That'd be great. Get a string on the left side, the right side of the inner cargo hold as you're going down. The string
Oh,
starts to
jeez.
just like anchor. Was that what was that? The one with the Kelsey Grammer. That one great.
Down
Down
Periscope.
Periscope. I love that movie.
Yeah, when that
I
when World
love
War
I
II
love Down
vets is sitting
Periscope.
there and he's got a
Someone
string. He
someone
takes
go
it
fire
across the
someone go
engine room.
find Buckman and fire him out a torpedo tube. I love that because when he rips one right in the right when everyone's trying to keep
Yeah.
quiet. That sounds like
But
an
they went to
explosion.
because they're asking that they put that tape in between the holes on the left
Yeah.
and the right side,
Hmm.
and they got Quit says, "Watch this," and it gets deeper and deeper goes down. The string starts to get looser and looser and
Uh,
looser, and it's like he's like, "This is nothing."
yeah.
And they're all freaking out. It's like this thing's getting squeezed like a pop can, and he's like, Don't worry about it." They're freaking out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that movie. I thought it was a fun movie. All right, so yeah, that's a thing, and of course that means that deals with players as well. So like, you can get crushed, maybe even underwater if you can get scuba gear, which I can see being an eventuality. I mean, that they want to do something underwater. I don't see it being a priority as immediate. I mean, even No Man's Sky does stuff underwater, so you can imagine that Star Citizen at least wants to get to the levels of No Man's Sky. Um, so yeah,
I just think it's interesting that they brought up Red October.
yes, exactly. I look. There was so much stuff talking about underwater related stuff, and when that guy had that smile on his face, it was totally a Duper's delight smile. It was like the thing, like I know something you don't. It's that kind of smile, that kind of smile you get when someone thinks they pull one over on you, but they can't contain it. Submarines be the next stretch goal. Yeah.
I'm there.
Bond. Yeah. Shouldn't be a ship, but deployable. Yeah, like a little ground vehicle, like we have, like a little like the a dragonfly, but underwater. That'd be fine. Like the kind of self-contained little. You can get your ship down there, and like it just goes. You kind of launch it out the back or drop it in the water or something. I don't know. It'll have to have some lev gear on it so you can get it out of the water and actually redock it again, because wheels might not work very well. No submarine. Well, wouldn't it be cool to have underwater cities and underwater cultures? I don't know. That's me. That's not something they need to work on as priority, but it'd be pretty cool. Every time I see sea ships with flotation, you know what I think of? Every time I think of a sea ship, the Banu Merchantman. How many times have we seen pictures of that thing? And it looks like it's coming out of the water. And so I thought Banu Merchantman to me seems to be one of those ships that always seem to be somewhat aquatic looking. But who knows? All right. So then we had the. Back to that loot generation. I already went over that. That was the thing that they brought up later again. Let's see here. Oh yeah, harvestables. The plants and such that you have in the world right now, basically right now they're just for selling, but eventually you want to have it so that you can actually use them for crafting. Whether it's you pick up a plant, you use it to go to a chemistry bench or whatever, if I can use that term from like Fallout, and you craft oils to make you clean your gun, or to maybe process illegal fun time medications, or whatever it is that you can turn around and go and sell. Or maybe first aid materials, or food. Crafting sounds like it's something they really want to bring these things in where you pick these things up, and I'm all for that. I think that's great. And on that note, they talked about the fact they also want to let us grow crops, which goes great with the idea that we're going to have homesteads, things you can locations that you can buy. So now you could be a farmer. Now that may not be a big deal to a lot of people, but there's a lot of people who'd be happy playing Star Citizen and playing Farmville or whatever. The one that with the cute little animals everyone likes to play, that's on Nintendo or something, or on PC. I don't know. Everyone likes to stream it. Harvest Moon, I guess. Harvest Moon, Star Citizen, I guess. You can do that.
They showed a lot of new stuff that they wanted to do with the new planet-side habitation and stuff, and details and stuff too that they brought up in the game too. They were showing pictures of that, so yeah. I can see them where they start flushing out where you having your own gardens or
yeah. I mean that's great. I mean I think that's cool. I like the concept. I think the more you can get people invested in the things that they can do that's fine, because they need that the growing anyway. Because you remember the Endeavor had those vegetation pods for the research, so you need to have the ability to so you should have the ability. Yeah, the domes. So you're going to need to have the ability to grow the crops anyway, because that's one of the functions of that ship. People said they could either use it. Remember, one of the things people said, the Endeavor could possibly be used as a deep space illegal manufacturing facility or growing facility of less than legal goods. So the idea of growing crops has been in the game for a while, but it's nice to hear crafting will be limited. I always said crafting will be limited originally. I mean, they can take it as far as they want. I don't see. I see depth coming in over time. I don't see depth coming in initially. Gas giants are right. Plenty of interesting gameplay possibilities. You'll be able to see ships moving weak calls, being able to take the pressure with the shield, at least for a while. Yeah, like the shield should be buckling first. Like they should be, maybe. I don't know. It depends how the shields work. Personally, I really understand the appeal of having a whole bunch of features in other games to be jumped into one. Well, because they want to have a universe simulation. I mean, they want to give you a lot of the options that you would have, that you would like. Could you have a farm in the real world? Sure. So they want to present that option to players, that they can have a farm in the in the Star Citizen world, and that's fine. And I don't really have any issues with that. It doesn't affect me, it doesn't hurt me, and it does actually work with some of the ship mechanics they talked about, like the Endeavor, as I said. So if they want to present that option to players, and that keeps someone happy, and that keeps someone in the game, and all they want to do is grow crops and go fishing, because if they put fishing minigame, hashtag fishing minigame. You give them fishing and like hand mining and ability to grow crops. Man, you'll watch some guy, like, he'll never leave his homestead except to sell his goods at the local market, and that'll be what he does, and he'll be perfectly happy doing it. It'll be perfectly.
Look what's in the game now. They're making us eat and drink. So why can't we make our own water?
Yeah, exactly. He can use the toilet and then take the fertilizer.
No,
it's a circle of life. It's the wheel of
Next, you're gonna say chunks of ice are gonna fall from the sky from ships that are dumping their
blue ice.
Yeah, blue
scope
ice.
creep.
Yeah. No.
Star Citizen doesn't do space flight better in space games yet. It doesn't hold up much for Star Citizen farmism. I don't know. I mean, there's less physics involved with farms, so I mean, I could see them probably. I could probably see them having more success in that region, unless they want to calculate the weight of every branch of corn. Let's see here. Do you think the best damn simulator ever would have the best base damn combat ever? Well, we're still waiting for iteration 2.0. I mean, we've been waiting on that. We've been waiting on that for a while. We'll have to see how that comes out. And that's not going to be. They said the 2022, where we get to see the next iteration of Flight. It must be a massive rework. It could take like a year and a half to get the next stage. Alright, I've seen this attitude in other games, though, and what happens that people who only like one little part of it leave to play a game that does one thing better. That's true, but there's always bleed off on games, and but that's I think if you offer them a more complete chain, like a more interesting dynamic, like okay, if you add in like they say it does it, I don't know, 80% as well as some other game that's just dedicated farming, like Farming Simulator or whatever. Okay, yeah, and you got this thing going on, but you've also got this whole thing of being able to play with other people, interact with like real that adds a lot of back into it. That adds a lot back into it. So it's I said we'll see what they do with it, but I think basically they want to give us a scenario where what is that they call it, the Martian? Where Matt Damon, where we get to be stranded on a planet and we get to go ahead and then grow our own crops, our own potatoes, while we wait for a rescue. Yeah, why don't the vending machines work? Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I want the vending machines.
Where's
I'm
my
tired. I'm
bennies?
tired of going to the shop and buying a drink. Guy goes, just get out of my shop. I'm like, why are you so
Yeah.
rude to me? I'm buying a soda. Just leave. Put it
I'm not
back.
supposed to be here
I'm not supposed
today.
to be here today. Like, shut up, dude. Shut up. I just want. Look, give me a vending machine. Big Benny. I want my Big Benny's noodles. Why can't I eat Big Benny's noodles yet?
Yeah.
Come on. That's like the
Hey,
first
I'm
food that was introduced in the game. I want to eat a cup of Big Benny's noodles. I want to see my character go slurping up noodles, right? I mean, I want to see that.
how long have we had it where people are actually figuring out a way to take the machines
Yeah.
and put them in the back of cargo ships and go do weird stuff
Right,
with them?
right has the same way. I can't say Matt Damon without saying like T America. Matt Damon. Exactly. I can't either. I don't hate Matt Damon as an actor, but I can't. I heard that movie, Matt Damon. What do you think, Matt Damon? Matt Damon. uh, it's moving closer and closer to GTA Online Space Edition. Well, bigger area, so hopefully we're more spread out. And if they make the complex, more radar systems and stuff more complex, hopefully then we won't see each other on the radar all the time. So that was a big complaint
Yeah.
I had with Grand Theft Auto, which, by the way, is ending on the old consoles. It'll still be on the PC and next gen consoles, but GTA 5 Online is going away from old gen consoles as of December 1st, I think. So that's the yeah. I never got to see the last Bourne movie, the one Jason Bourne. But I did like the Jason Bourne movies. I enjoyed the heck out of them. I actually own them, to be honest with you. So someone who works with Matt. He hates that. Trey Smith.
Oh.
Oh, that's great. So if I ever bump into him, they'll go, "Hey, how are you, Matt Damon?" I might get punched or something. I'd be the blasted in the face cast right there. Oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, so we have let's see here. Oh yeah, and this is kind of a big thing here, and this is they talked about a refining and a refining ship. Now, what was interesting about this is they want now first of all. As we get to the refining, they talked about this chain of production from harvesting to refining and transporting back and whatnot. The thing is
In
that
different ways and different.
yeah.
When it came to refining, depending on how you refined it.
Well, here's the thing. What was kind of annoying to me a little bit when they were talking about. They're talking about, oh yeah, you go back to refining, you get attacked by pirates. Why does every
Yeah, that's
industrial
true.
scenario in Star Citizen end with a developer talking about when you get attacked? I'm
Yeah.
like, why do I always get attacked? Seriously, why? I mean, like I'm out there and I'm just doing my thing, and I'm out there with a team of people. It inevitably means that I'm gonna get jumped by pirates. I mean, come on, come on.
They
Can we?
like to push the idea that you need to have a bunch of snub fighters
Yes.
protecting you 24/7.
It's like I'm gonna go
You
use the
log
I'm gonna go
in.
use the bathroom. You're attacked by pirates. Like crap, literally. And it's just like it's like why does everything got to be tied up and related and reconnected to combat? And it's like okay, just can we? Yeah, we understand. You want to see things pew pew pew. Yeah, my job is to be a target for pirates and to be the victim ship. Suddenly, space pirates. Anyway, so what was interesting about this is it sounds like they're going to be doing some modifications to the Starfarer, and that sounds like the Starfarer might actually have different modules you'd be able to attach to for metal refining. Maybe it wasn't very clear, but it sounded like that they're going to be going back and they're turning the Starfarer into a more generally a refining ship in general. like you could be able to swap out the pods and do different kinds of things and do different kinds of refining. That involves basically separating the cargo from like the small ships, bringing it over to the Starfarer. Starfarer starts the refining process, and then start basically bringing more finished goods down. And so we'll have to like at least more processed goods down to be delivered. So I don't know how that's going to work. I can see the Starfarer need to have a rework done on that, which by the way it does need it anyway, just
Yes,
in
please.
general. But if they start like having the Starfarer having some modular refining capabilities, that's pretty awesome. I'm all for that. My brother has a Starfarer, and it's been one of the biggest complaints. It's his version, it's his Retaliator, and
Yeah, yeah.
so it needs work. Um,
It's just a first-person shooter map. That's all it is.
yeah, so hopefully those people here own a Starfarer, and I used to own a Starfarer as well. You'll start seeing some joy, some love for her, and we'll start being able to really just
Yeah, they
take
didn't
that
just
ship to
say
the next
one
level.
refinery. They said multiple refineries to be
Yes,
put in.
exactly. Like so, that's the thing.
Besides being refueling.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if they'll rework the interior, but internals. But I mean, it's one of those things like when you're reworking how a ship operates, and the modules and things attached to it. Sometimes you just got to, and this gives me a hope that they'll revisit the ship, because the ship has needed some real love. Even if you don't change the physical nature of the ship on the outside, the way that you move around the ship, the layout, where
Oh,
how you
it's confusing.
it's confusing as all hell. It needs to be redone. It needs to be a lot clearer. It needs to be a lot. It is a maze. It is
It has a
not
lot
fun.
of wasted
A
space.
lot of wasted space, right? And it's one of those things that they need to just revamp it.
I don't care. They keep it ugly. Keep it ugly. That's
Yeah,
fine.
you'll be PvPing you when your character's on the toilet, and that's just like the Austin Powers movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't look up what was that the Jackass clip I gave you? It was the
Oh, the yeah. Let me.
look
I
at
can. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do
look
it.
at your Discord and tell me what the name of it was. It was
Uh,
something poop something supreme.
Poop
Fail
cocktail
supreme. Yeah,
supreme.
they put him in a porta potty and launched him on a catapult that snaps up and down where there's
Oh,
a full
jeez.
porta
It's like a
potty.
bungee
Oh yeah,
backwards.
a bungee. Yeah, it's the poop cocktail supreme. Look that up for Jackass 3D or whatever, and I watched that. I think that's our PvP in the toilet. So,
Oh
poop
God,
cocktail
no.
supreme. So yeah, that's definitely yeah. And if you haven't seen that clip, you're welcome. So
Yeah, and then go take a shower and then a
yeah.
bath and another shower, and then you need to drink your mouthwash. It's
Exactly.
not
Lots
worth
of
the
mouthwash.
gargling.
Lots of mouthwash.
Ugh.
All right. So good Starfarer news. Good possible news for. Uh,
Oh, we're gonna have physical docking for when you go to refuel.
that was actually what I was about to bring up. It's literally the
Oh,
page I just
okay.
flipped to. So more Starfarer news to degree. They did say actually that they do want to use a boom arm, which means once again a boom arm would have to be attached to the Starfarer, also to the Vulcan, I think as it is. So those ships would need to have physical refueling arms, and they want to use the existing docking system that they created for the Merlin and all the space station and whatnot to actually attach to the ship. Now, it can be done in motion as long as the ship maintains a constant speed, constant heading. You can do it. But in space, just make it simple on everybody. Just stop your ship. The refueling ship, just stop. Let the guy line up much easier than that. It's space. You don't have to be complicated about it. It's not like you need to fly around to do it. Just stop.
Yeah, they
But
specifically said that you can't be doing emergency maneuvers and whatnot
yeah,
and expect to be able to be doing any refueling. But they
Tyler.
also brought up the idea of having a
Yeah,
having
it's
chips.
a Starfarer refueling a Starfarer, and
Yeah,
they said, can you make a caterpillar? I was thinking human centipede, but the whole point is that like yeah, you could have like a Starfarer refueling a Starfarer, but they said that the system's not going to allow like currently like three, so you can have a Starfarer refueling a Starfarer refueling a Starfarer refueling a Starfarer, make a big circle out of it. And that would be really funny, but right now it's going to be limited just to the one ship attached to the other. I don't know if they're ever going to make it so that you can do a daisy chain of Starfarers, but that would be interesting. Yeah,
Well,
Tyler's
they
in the
were
ball
also
5 by
talking
5.
about how they were talking about it came to allocation for resources, not
Mm-hmm.
only for fuel.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That
that
came up.
and that's what they've been working on. It was taking like where that takes 6 months. It's taken over a year. The ability, for example, on the Starfarer, you have the main fuel tanks, you have the reserves, you have the fuel tanks where you fill people up. So you want to have the ability for you if you run out of fuel, the main tanks to be able to pull fuel out of the reserves, and like the ones that you're actually refueling other people's ships with. So they need to have these universal systems where they can transfer things across a ship like that, and in a way that makes sense. Also, if you run out of fuel and you're trying to refuel, you always have a very slow ability to thrust just a little to move into position for a refuel. So you won't be able. They said like if the refueling ship's moving at like 100 meters a second, you'll never catch it. Which once they said stay still, right? So if a ship doesn't really have any fuel, it can still like move maybe 5 meters a second, right? It can still putt along just enough to put itself into position to refuel, but it won't be effective for combat or normal flight. Um, yeah, this is another reason too. By the way, you want to park when you're refueling because of desync and things like that. Look, just
Oh
simplify
yes.
simplify the whole process. Cut out the middleman. Cut out the jankiness. Stop the ship. Let them dock to you. Make yourself as stationary as possible because yeah, things like desync. Would you want to have a fighter flying smack into your ass when you're trying to fuel because of desync? Hell no. Just stop. Just stop
The
your ship.
broken boom arms all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Just stop your ship, keep it simple, and it'll work just fine. Now, if the pacing and stuff in the game gets better, and we deal with like the server meshing things like that, it may not be an issue. And maybe there'll be a situation where you have to refuel when moving because you're being pursued. It's like, look, I've got like 2 minutes of fuel left. We're being chased, and whatever, and they're gonna, and I need to get away or something. Whatever weird scenario you can imagine where someone has to get extra fuel on the go, and then like they need to do it. Fine, that's fine, and then that's good that you have the option. But generally speaking, unless it's some weird scenario like that, just stop your ship.
That would be bonus for a Starfarer because of those aft guns,
Yeah.
and that if you had to try to refuel somebody who's being chased down, if you slowed down and provided him cover, that would maybe give him enough moments to get enough fuel to save his keister.
Yeah.
But while he's hooking up and he can't maneuver, you can possibly chase away the problem enough where he can at least get some fuel in his ship for protection.
Here a
You
second.
know,
Here's got a quick question here. A better question to ask about refining is: will all ships with onboard refineries be able to not only sell fuel to stations, but refill other ships besides the Starfarer? An example by EVA also: will the ships be able to store quantanium as well, or is that going to be hand waving by CAG? Oh, you can't because it has to be mined. Yeah, the thing is that the Starfarer originally supposed to be able was supposed to be able to harvest and refine quantum fuel. That was the driving force behind that ship. Was the idea that it could gather that particular resource, which is so weird because when you play the game right now, the hydrogen fuel is the expensive fuel, and the quantum fuel is cheap as hell.
yeah, it
And
was
and
reversed in the original game
hmm
when they talk about
well, yeah, the
original
quantum fuel
ideas
you
of the
think would be the
Starfarer.
expensive fuel, and the hydrogen would be relatively inexpensive. Not the way it works, but so I guess we'll have to see the economy and stuff will get adjusted. But yeah, I would like to see like a ship that can refine, can utilize right then and there, in a way like that. Even if someone just drags a hose over and like plugs it in manually. And of course they have to rework all the ships so they have physical connections for the boom arm. So they're looking. They said like 160 plus ships. They're going to have to make sure that can connect to a boom arm. So
How many Starfarers would it take to refuel an Idris or
well, it
even
would take many
larger?
Starfarers, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
I mean, generally speaking, you want to refuel an Idris at a station proper. That you'd only be using a Starfarer in case of an emergency.
yeah.
You'd really have to be desperate at that point in time. First, we
I
have to run
mean,
out of fuel. People on the forums are unhappy with the idea of manually flying through atmosphere instead of quantum travel 40 kilometers. Yeah, I want to. I don't like quantum traveling like 40 kilometers or 20 kilometers from my destination. I think it takes a lot of the experience out. Travel time is important, but also the fact that just jumping through the atmosphere to me has always felt kind of hokey. I hope they get rid of that at some point. I
think
would.
of all the birds.
I think someone said that they probably do it because of 30 Ks. It cuts down on time before the server crashes, so like they can get something done. I guess it's a possibility, but let's see. Even though the 100 series have refineries, so theoretically they could be sort of a makeshift search and rescue type ship. Yeah, that's true. Um, only flight atmospheres so freaking long. I'm going to rely for re-entry and launches. Well, it's also because it's this weird things. Okay, like because of the thruster power. Let me just do this real quick. Hold on. Okay. Let me just go ahead and turn the autopilot off here. Okay. Because there's no way in holy heck that I should be able to do this and have the ship hold up. That's right.
You must have a zero G
You know,
generator.
the gravity should just pull me down. I should just hit like I'm gonna do something fun here. A second here. I should just decouple and the ship should just plummet, and then and so that does just fine. But like the ship, the way the flight engine works is that like the gravity is always countered by the system automatically, and it kind of takes a lot of the flying feeling out of the game, to some degree. Like the front thrusters, obviously these are way too powerful. These are way too powerful for their. I should this ship should be going down right now. The only way I should be able to be flying at all for V2L is like this. So there's just yeah, it's one of those things that there's a lot of refinement that has to be done to make um, like going down inside of a planet the atmosphere should be like a. It's funny like you should go further down. It's like oh you have your safe speed. Safe speed's one thing, but it shouldn't artificially slow my ship down. It shouldn't artificially slow my ship down just because reasons. It's weird. It's very weird. It should just, hey, if you come in hot, then maybe, maybe you've got ship damage or whatever, or drags, to some degree. But it always feels like there's an artificial, just a speed cap, like you're just hitting a wall, and it's a weird disconnect. What is that? Someone locking me or something? Whatever.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Fire away. Fire away, I guess. Anyway, how many Starfarers is changing a light bulb? None. It was such a maze the pilots couldn't find the cockpit.
Yeah. I can't even find the captain's quarters unless I go up two weird stairs or ladders painting butts.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of good news this week overall. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff to cover. Some very cool things, some things I think that were really worth mentioning. Some things I saw in there that they said that weren't directly addressed, but I felt that were hinted at or displayed. And it said the dupe between the radar indicator, the radar layout, and that whole Duper's delight thing. Like I saw it, when I looked at that scene, and I was just like, you said if you ever seen Duper's delight, you know what I'm talking about. That person thinks they pulled one over on you, and they get this little wry little smile. Yeah. Oh, I'm being chased by I'm crazy about a Mercury. I got a Mercury Star Runner chasing me. This is going to end badly. I have a feeling this is going to be this is going to end very badly. Okay. Oh.
I hope it's not. He's not going to make this or something.
No. I don't know. I don't know.
He's flying sideways.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Things like this very rarely go well for me. Yeah, I think I got a stalker. Oh.
What in the world?
See, that's a UFO flight model. That's what I'm saying, guys. UFO flight model. None of this makes sense. I think these great ships and ship designs, and then you see something like that, like that, upside down with whirling and twirling. It's a UFO flight model. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, he's got a full burn.
No, don't hump me. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the changes in the flight model in the future. Is that one of you guys, seriously? Or is that just some random dude? I'm just curious.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's a curiosity. I killed the cat.
Maybe he wants to practice refueling. Wrong ship. Wrong misc ship.
All right, so let's head back to the spaceport here a little bit. I still don't know what this wing is on the back of the Miss. Like I don't know what the wing scoopy thing's for. Somebody might be able to explain it to me someday, but today is not that day. I think he left. We've been abandoned by our Mercury. I believe. Oh no, he's below us. Okay, there he is.
No, he's in camouflage mode.
Yeah, he's white on white.
That's right.
Now he's pointed nose down, floating. Because, Yeah, yeah. Maybe they're a probe. Maybe they're a probe. So.
Oh,
Oh,
he's got him reversed
the
now.
four big missile things? No, those are fuel tanks. On my those are fuel. These are extra fuel tanks. The ship has. If you look at the fuel on the ship, it's got 5,000 on the quantum fuel, and it's got good range. It really does. I thought about that too. Like, what if you could take the fuel tanks off, put these gigantic, massive mega probes on there? You could do like this whole Star Trek 4 thing, you know? Like a couple million years later, this weird probe shows up and tries to communicate with whales, you know? Something like that. Anyway. So, all right, guys. As I said, there's no stream on Wednesday because I have to do a follow-up checkup with the dentist. Um, they actually, which is probably a good thing because they did some work last Wednesday, and the one way I can describe the way that this tooth feels after they worked on it. Imagine sticking a toothpick in your mouth vertically and then biting down hard. It has been extremely painful week, and it feels like someone is drilling into my face. And I hope that's just a situation of my of whatever they did. Getting it's just like, oh my gosh, it hurts. It's like every time I eat or drink, it's like I have to sit there and this for a few minutes and not like scream into a pillow. So I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. So I'm gonna have to talk to them about whatever the heck they did because it's been a fun, painful week. Anyway, so yeah, Starfarer, woo, Starfarer. And of course Thursday we'll do the sucking at Fallout 1 and uh, extra nerve endings. Tell them to get extra jabs. Well, but this is still hurting. I went last Wednesday and it's still hurting. But yeah, I might have extra nerve endings. I don't know, but it's really obnoxious. Anything that's hotter or colder than room temperature or mouth temperature sets it off again. So like I no ice cream obviously and no like hot tamales. None of those. If I stick like room temperature soup, then it's okay. But like anything else, it sets it off. It's not like I bite down and it hurts. It just the nerve starts to flare up, and maybe it's I just need antibiotics, or when they jab me with the thing they could cause an infection. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to them because it's really obnoxious, and it's you know it makes my eyes water half the day. It makes my right, it's like half my face, my right side of my face, my eyes starts watering and stuff. It's really bad. Um,
Why do I feel like you went to like one of these people in like cyberpunk and some sort of clinic behind a like a some sort of a
yeah.
car
Ooh.
mechanic shop
Yeah.
or a gas station, and they did work on your mouth?
I dread every meal right now. It's just like, oh, here we go again. I get to have my right eye water for half an hour. Um, anyway, so good times. But yeah, so as I said, the Thursday is sucking up Fallout 1. Friday will be a Hangout stream, and I believe we might have enough information to do a show next Monday. As far as now, I believe this upcoming Saturday, um, Friday or Saturday. I think it's actually Friday is the last day I work this for like a week. So I'm debating if I want to do streams at all during the week because I've had 6 days of vacation in the last 8 years, and so I'm actually taking a full week. And part of me is like, look, just take the week. Don't even do streaming. Just relax. Go out, do your thing. If I want to go out, don't be beholden to anything, because I kind of deserve it. Having had no vacation time in all these years. So I don't know. I guess I'll leave that. Maybe you guys will have some thoughts on that. But part of me is just like I just want to chill out. Um, just relax and enjoy my week and do whatever I want. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and put this beast down.
Now I feel like we're on Hoth.
All I need is a gigantic snow. Did you know that Mark Hamill was actually upset about the arm cut off scene on the creature was it the Wampa? Um, he was upset about that. He filmed the scene and he was told that he would actually just be wounding it and it would actually scaring it or something. And he wouldn't. But when he saw the final cut, he saw the arm cut. He said, "Luke wouldn't cut something's arm off." And he was actually he was not happy about that at all. So now you know.
Well, I still like the scene where Admiral Akbar, after the Death Star explodes, they told him they wanted the character to celebrate like the rest of the
Yeah,
crew.
and he leaned back in the chair and
just leans
exasperated,
back
and then
and exasperated. And he said, "I'm sorry. That's the way I think he should be. That's
right,
the way
yeah.
I feel he
And
should be."
like
Because
and 30
he's
years later,
feeling sad.
Disney got their vengeance for him having a mind of his own.
Oh, it
So
sucked him out a window.
exactly, yeah, go Disney. By the way, I will never consider Disney canon. I will consider the books canon forever. I don't care who if they own the license or not. The books are canon. Disney is not.
Timothy's on rocks.
The green milk scene. Disney is not canon.
Oh gosh, no. Ugh.
Disney is written. Disney is nightmare fuel. I will take Heir to the Empire,
Yeah.
the Jedi Academy series, all of it over.
Rogue Squadron.
This mouse is not welcome in this house. Damn straight. Get your mouse out of my house. No vermin allowed. Exactly.
It's so bad that they're going. By the way, we're gonna have to.
Yeah,
put the
they're
reset
so
button."
bad they're talking about retconning their own crap already.
Yeah, they're already talking about. It's like
No, sorry. Anything Disney's done to me is not canon. It never will be. If I want Star Wars, I'll read the books after the movies. That's it. I mean, that's why I have no interest in watching any of them now. They've killed their own franchise. Congratulations. You've done what you've done in a couple.
George
movies.
Lucas is like, what have I done?
Yeah. Well,
What
has
did
he
I
done?
do?
Well, yeah, as he's dancing like the Six Flags man through a river of money. What? That is weird. It's just,
Whoa!
yeah, it does that when you
Did
get
we just-
yeah, it does that.
I thought you hit the wall. It's like, oh, by the way, the door is open. We're just not drawing it
Yep.
open for that second.
Yeah, Disney's terrible. There we go, safe and sound. I didn't explode. I didn't clip through anything. I don't know if I can officially call this a stream. I mean,
We didn't clip. We got to open the door and see if we clip to the bottom of the planet.
yeah, exactly. It's just this is not how my streams work. I'm not supposed to survive. Not supposed to survive. Maybe I should run. Maybe the door's still open outside the hangar. Are we stuck on each other? I can make a leap out the back and just fall out of the space station or something. It's doubtful.
Let's see if we can get a whole crate of Bantha Poodle.
Yeah, that's called Disney in Star Wars. That's all the Bantha Poodoo you ever need.
Yeah.
That's acres and acres of Bantha Poodoo.
Oh, Bantha Poodle.
All right, guys. Well, as I said, we'll see you on Thursday. One of the Luca told me basically I need to equip that 223 pistol I got because it's apparently armor piercing, and he said to use that for the battle. And I'm gonna give it a couple of goes. If I can't get through that battle, I will see what else is going on in that town. I'll start with that, and because those guys were, gosh, they were kicking my face in. I'll off stream. I will re-equip my characters and make sure everyone is set the right way. That's one of the things too when you're playing a game like that. Like I feel pressed for time, so I don't stop and look at things the way I should because I feel like that's gonna be boring to people. So like I just go and I just grab it and I just go. And then like it's you didn't look at this, you did this. Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm pressed for time. Like there's people watching, so I gotta like just keep it moving. So I don't, and then it bites me in the butt almost every single time. EFAP is amazing. How many EFAP teams go wrong? The thing that's wrong with Star Wars. Oh, when you said that, I was thinking of something else. I don't know what EFAP was. I had a whole different thought process there. Oh, what happened? My game froze. Oh, there we go. That was weird.
Ooh, you disappeared.
Yeah, the game froze and then like something was like weird.
Okay.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I said on that note, we'll leave here this beautiful view of what the art guys in Star Citizen are amazing, and I'm always enjoy looking at the things they've created. And I said you guys are gonna love. I think you're gonna love the Crusader stuff. And I look forward to when it goes to PT Wave 1 of doing a stream, and we can see that together and fly around and fall off the city to my doom. You know, basic stuff, and have a good time. All right, we'll see you on Thursday, maybe, Friday, maybe, and maybe next Monday. I guess we'll find out and kind of go from there. And if I do an update on whether or not I'm doing streaming during the week, if I don't say it on Monday, I'll say it on Discord and on social media like Twitter and Minds where I post general updates. All right, we will see you soon. Thanks for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye bye.